If not you, then who? Let's be really honest with that question. If you're not going to show up for yourself, how can you honestly expect other people to show up for you? Yeah, think about that for a second and let that sit in your soul and ask yourself that question a couple times. How are you showing up for yourself? When you wake up in the morning, do you hit the ground running? And then all of a sudden you become everybody else's agenda, everybody else's energy? Or do you take a moment and just breathe? Pray, set your intentions, meditate. This morning, my phone went off at 5:28 a.m. And today's Thursday. Mondays and Thursdays are my 2 days that I get to sleep until 6. Normally I'll take clients 4:45 in the morning, 5 a.m. Now I'm much older and smarter and they're virtual. I am not getting in my car and driving for an hour and a half like I used to, or walking over to my other space that I used to have. I'm pretty much virtual now. And that's a really big part of me taking care of me. Sometimes we fight for our limitations and we stand our ground, or is our ego in the way? Or do we have a false sense of loyalty to things and people and places? Or do we just do it because that's what we're used to doing? So how do you show up for yourself? So when I got the text this morning, I looked over and it's somebody that I really enjoy the banter and communication with, and he's a really good friend. And I was like, okay, I could pick this phone up and I could start going back and forth, and it's always funny and fun. He's got such a great heart. Or do I keep in my ritual? Do I keep in my routine? For me, and if I say something that offends you, I'm not pushing my religious beliefs on you. If I say something and the word doesn't resonate with you, put your own word in. Don't come at me, just put your own word in. But you will hear me say God, universe, angels, so many things. So you can just put your own word in there. But for me, what I always say is, thank you, God, for the beyond blessed life that you have given me, the life that you continue to bless me with on a daily basis. Thank you for your uncommon favor. How may I be of service to you today? And will you please show me the signs and guide me? And then I pray, I meditate, maybe I just snuggle, but I don't try to rush anymore. I saw something and I reached out and told a couple friends about this, that when you come out of survival mode, things change. You don't feel the need to rush around anymore. You start to laugh a little more. You start to dance a little bit more. So give yourself permission to dance. Give yourself permission to show up for yourself. Give yourself permission to think, if not me, then who? Like, I'm almost at a loss for words, which is unusual, because it just sets so deep within my soul. When you're a caregiver, when you're in crisis, when you have things happening, and most people don't know what's going on with you, all right? And I came from a generation, Gen X, that we don't share our shit. Like, we just don't share it. But there's no shame in getting therapy, and there's no shame in getting counseling or asking for help when you need it. The younger generations tends to share most of their personal stuff online. That's just not me. And there is nothing wrong with those who want to do it. It's just not my jam. So a lot of times when I'm not on social media, it's because I'm going through something and I just don't want the energy of everyone else. I need to process how I need to process. So that's me showing up for me. That is taking care of myself. That is so much of the healing process. The last couple years, about the last 4.5 years, there's been a lot going on personally and professionally, and sometimes I was wondering if I was fighting for my limitations. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been just so used to doing something that you stay? You stay in that position or that stance or that ego because that's what you're used to. That's what you're comfortable with. That's your fallback plan. And oftentimes when you're doing that, you may have a false sense of loyalty. There could be so many reasons for doing that. I could bring on one of my psychiatrist friends and really get into that with you. It's pretty fascinating. But once you make that decision to choose you, and I know a lot of you have stuff going on. You might have a ton of kids. You might be a caretaker for your parents. You might be in flight or fight mode and just trying to figure it out. And if you're in menopause or perimenopause, shit. Can I? We're going to do a bunch of little clips on that. It's insane what happens. And when I say insane, I'm not being disrespectful to mental health. You don't understand who you are. Your body doesn't respond to you the way that you think it's supposed to. You forget everything. There's just so many hormonal imbalances happening, and you put on weight, you're like, what the heck is going on? There's so many things that go on with that. So please, when you're going through something, whatever that may be, if you're going through grief or just trying to figure things out, or wherever you are in your life, show yourself some grace. Don't gaslight yourself, all right? Promise me that you just don't gaslight yourself. Ask for help. If you can't afford help, there are so many wonderful resources. And be careful who you let into your circle. You know, sometimes we need to protect ourselves as to who we share what with, because not everybody has experienced what you are going through. I can pretend to understand what it would be like to be a parent. I have dogs and I've helped raise other people's children. But I honestly don't know what it's like to be a full-time parent. So I can't give the best advice. So I would go to, if I was someone seeking parenting advice, I understand human behavior. I understand how to make things happen. But go to someone who understands that. Because someone who tells you, if you have a ton of kids and you're busy and you're working, or if you're not working, because being a stay-at-home parent is probably the hardest job. But if someone says, well, it's only an hour, well, that hour is a lot for someone who really doesn't get an hour. I have a friend, and that is one thing that she is adamant about, that we spend time together 2 to 3 times a week. And in the last few months, my life has really changed and made some big decisions on some things. And, you know, some of it was a little bit of a push. And I really think that it was an act of God, that the way that some of the things went down for me. But I do more virtual now than anything. And she bought a reformer for me. Her appointment's at 5 a.m. Ooh, she's lucky I love her, on Wednesdays and Fridays. But she's generally ready at 4:45 in the morning, shooting me a little text saying, I'm ready. And I get up a little bit earlier so I can show up for me in the way that needs to happen, so that allows me to show up for her. And I admire that tenacity in her. She gives everything she has to her family. She truly, truly does. But she does take that 1 to 2 hours out. Yesterday morning, she had some things going on, and it was only a 40-minute session. She's like, hey, I got to talk really quiet. And, you know, she had her little earbuds in. And so I couldn't really talk a lot because we laugh a lot and we, you know, go back and forth about things. But she still she only had 40 minutes to give, but she took that. So that is her showing up for her, so that she can show up for everyone else, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, my friends. You just can't. You know, I could turn on all the lights and I could have microphones going, and I don't have any of that right now. I did try earlier this morning I bought a cute little mic, and it did sound really good as I was recording, but the mic turned off right in the middle of it. And I was like, well, shoot. Okay. And so I texted my friend Caitlin, and I was like, well, I started this today, but take 2. And it's okay. Like, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. So now I'm sitting here waiting for my next appointment, and I'm going to just record this. The lighting is probably not what it should be. The sound, it could be better, I'm sure. Someone's going to call me and tell me that I should have sit up taller, I should have did my hair, I should have put on makeup. You know what? I felt it upon my heart to record this today. So that's what I did. It felt good to make that decision, to start YouTubing again, to start podcasting again, to stop fighting for my limitations and get out there. So how are you going to show up for yourself today? If you can't take just that hour, could you take 10 minutes? Could you, while you're watching a show with the kids, everybody sit on the floor, or even on the couch, who cares, and stretch? If you even get a chance to watch a show, while you're cooking dinner, could you stand on one leg and do tree? Could you reach your hands up to the sky? Could you turn on some music and shake your ass? I love to dance, absolutely love to dance. And I was going through a lot of stuff, and I realized I wasn't dancing. And so now I turn that music up and I dance even if it's just one song. I have a friend, two friends actually, Leslie and Jackie, that we send each other the silliest videos just dancing around. So find someone in your life that you can share that funniness with, that you can have the accountability with, that you know are not going to share those videos you dancing around with no bra on and your pajamas and just having fun with your hair being all funky, but just to start embracing life and showing up and remembering that you only got one life this time, and it's gonna come to an end at some point in time. So why not just live the most magical life that you can live? And when I say magical, that doesn't mean that you have to be out doing grand things. For me, now, a magical Friday night is reading a great book with my dog wrapped on my feet. Like, she's literally sitting on my feet right now. And it just, that for me, that's magical. Now, if you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I am a city girl through and through. I would have been out having a great dinner somewhere, sitting at a fancy bar, having a beautiful martini, and I haven't drank in years. It's not that I nothing against it. I just decided, I don't want to drink anymore. And I feel good not doing it. My sleep is good, and I like not drinking, but that doesn't mean that I can't go out and do things if I so choose. So for my self-care on Fridays, because I give so much all week long, that's how I reboot. So how are you going to reboot this week? How are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to show up for yourself? I hope this resonates with you. It's just a little short one. If you guys want longer ones, let me know. I'm going to start bringing some friends on and doing some interviews. And yeah, I'm excited to do this. So I appreciate you guys watching. And I got to figure out how to upload this, because that is not my jam. Tech is not something that I'm good at, but I'm learning, and I'm really, really trying to learn it. So I love you. I appreciate you. Make today magical, and sprinkle your fairy dust. If that means only sprinkling your fairy dust for you today, then that's great. If you find it upon your heart to sprinkle fairy dust to other people, do it. Smile at them. You never know what anybody's going through, and just that little smile might change their world. All right, bye-bye.